Hello, everybody. This is Bowie Abiola of Raise Your Game eSports, and today, on the other side of the call with me, I have Jihan Sheriff-Crichlow, the founder and CEO of Play All Gaming LLC in New York City. So, Jihan, what got you into gaming or esports?
Well, when I was a young kid, pretty much, I was really into, like Nintendo. Like my father bought me a Nintendo, and I was, playing that, and it was really interesting, the concept of it. And then I kind of like went off to like the arcades because my father used to play Lotto, so like Lotto was really back then in the 80s, and there was an arcade, and it was called Big Apple Video, and I was amazed by it because these games were more advanced than it was at in the home consoles. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, wow, man! Like I wish I could take this home, but I couldn't. So it was mainly to a point where I would pray that my father would go to play Lotto, and I would go to the arcade and play for a little while. So it was very interesting at that time. And then my mother used to take me to movies in 42nd Street, and which is Times Square, and that was like one of my favorite areas to go to because it was like a very interesting, place at the time because it was kind of like totally different than what it is now. I mean, Times Square now is like Disneyland, but back then it was like more like like the real New York. It's like just everything was there, and the arcades there too. Like there was so many popular arcades. Like they had rows and rows of arcades. So it's like it was just unbelievable at the time. Like I think just arcade machines was just way beyond our time. Like it was just way too advanced. So it was very interesting for me. So it got to a point where I started collecting, picking up consoles, and in my neighborhood, a lot of the kids were, underprivileged where they couldn't be able to afford the consoles. I was very fortunate to be able to get it, and I got to a point where I used to bring my consoles downstairs, because we used to have block parties, and so I used to bring all my consoles and my TV, and we would find a way to hook up to some random power outlet. Like sometimes the neighbors will allow me to use their outlet, so we'll use like a long extension cord. And next thing you know, we got like power outside, of the complex where I live. And, we used to play games all the time. I used to share, what the games that I have. Um, so it's kind of, it's crazy because like arcades have brought a lot of people together, during the crazy times. Cause, during that time when I was a teenager, drugs is really big, like the crack epidemic and everything else. And, in my neighborhood, there was a lot of crack houses and stuff like that. So it was very dangerous for us to go outside. So that's the reason, kind of video games kind of like took away my attention from going outside and stuff like that. Like, because how dangerous it was back then. I had friends that like kind of went missing. So it was very weird for me to grasp at the time as a young kid, but video games really kind of like saved my life, to be quite honest, because I don't know where I've been if I had not had video games. I wouldn't be able to know that. But fast forwarding now, I took a hiatus off of playing at the arcades because I was very competitive. I used to travel a lot within the city of the five boroughs because I would say Soul Calibur 2 was like one of my favorite competitive games. And then a lot of Capcom games started coming out, and when Third Strike came out, I think that was the last of one of the last of the Capcom games that came out. And I think that Capcom decided to do to go on console, totally forgot, like they didn't want to do arcade games no more. So it really killed the market because of the demand of people always wanting to have something to play. And so for me, I kind of as a fan, who's really big into fighting games, I kind of just went about and just wanted to get a job, work, take care of myself, and years later, I was working a union job at a near Presbyterian hospital, and years for me it wasn't. Um, I thought it was maybe an ideal job that I wanted to do, but it was completely different from what I was what I normally do because I used to do retail. So I mean, it was similar because I was working in a warehouse, but having to handle very expensive drugs and stuff like that, it was very difficult because it just required a lot of high maintenance, and sometimes like we were understaffed, so it was a very stressful job. But now I took the money that I'd gotten from working there because it was a really good high paying job. I decided to invest in starting my own company, and that was due to the fact that I had a friend of mine who was running tournaments in the city called Defend the North every year. And when I heard that he was hosting a tournament, I went there, to kind of support him because I knew him from the arcades back then. And I seen like this, he was running a tournament in a ballroom, and I thought it was amazing. It really kind of like really opened my eyes and kind of brought back the whole competitive nature inside of me. And I was just like, wow, man, like I'd never seen anything like this before, but the thing was is that it brought me back to the days when I used to bring out my consoles in the neighborhood, and it was just so similar to that. It's just now everything's more organized. You have more setups. So I was like, wow, I was actually like a community person in the making, but just didn't realize that. And I think that's what it is too. Like with certain people that they do things in the past, like that they were already like really good at, and didn't know like the potential of where they can take it. So for me, I started going to more tournaments after that, and started to learn how like tournament organizers run their tournaments, and I started seeing other people have teams as well. So I wanted to kind of get in that aspect of creating something in my own vision, and that's technically what I did with Play All Gaming. I had a friend of mine's, like, me and her went to go eat breakfast at a nice Dominican spot up in the Bronx. And, I was trying to come up with a name, to, bring about my brand. And, we came up with Play All Gaming. And I thank her. Her name is Lydia Ignacios. And I thank her for helping me for finding a name. And so the reason why I chose Play is because it's such an iconic word, and two is an iconic symbol at the same time. And I don't think that many people realize that, like, you have the play symbol technically and like on your devices, and the symbol itself is like, it's seen all over the world, like it's like hard to not notice it. So I wanted something that really stand out, like from the rest, because just trying to create an esports team, it's very difficult because you have to really have funding and everything else in order to do so. But I've done everything from whatever I had, like the resources I had, because we technically are not sponsored. We're not a sponsored team, and so it took a lot of work and get a lot of people to get on board to be a part of this organization. I feel that we're a really good team, like overall, and I think we've been doing really good with ourselves, for a long period of time. So pretty much came a long way. I came up with the name, I would say 4 years ago, and then I finalized it a year and a half to become an actual LLC.
That's beautiful. That was a very inspiring story. That's beautiful, and it's coming along very well, right? And has it been? It's been like a journey for you, right? It's been an amazing journey, right?
Oh yeah, it's just learning experience. I think that that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to gain experience and understand things, and it's unfortunate that I had to learn at such an older age because I'm 34. So starting at 30 was kind of like more, I would say, intimidating for me because the thing was that there's a lot of people that have been doing this for a long period of time, and even though that I've been gaming for a long period of time, I haven't had experience in the organizing portion of it. So managing a team. I also offer consulting services. My main thing is trying to help bring growth in the city or anywhere in the states or out of the country. It doesn't even matter. Anything dealing with gaming related, like I'm all about the support for it. So this way, we can create something organically that we can help see it grow so that it's very mature and that the gaming community is getting the full benefit of it. I think it's very important that we make sure that we're putting something in place so that everyone can be a part of it. And I don't want to get the thing with esports. I don't want to get it to a point where people are not allowed to be a part of something. I don't want to get to a point where it's only exclusivity, within the community, and that's the main thing. So it's just all about the growth, man. Like that's all I'm all about right now. And I had the privilege of working with a lot of people, and I thank a lot of people for making me the person I am today. Because sometimes it's first of all, I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I only have a high school diploma. I don't really have a college degree or anything like that. And I don't want people to think that this is an easy thing to do or try to be inspired because I have a high school diploma. I think that at the end of the day is really the integrity and the passion that kind of gets you through everything, and the willing to learn and you have to be a sponge, man. Like you got to soak it in and just learn as much as you can and be smart and just do good business. I think that's just what it boils down to. So I'm not one of those guys that are going around and say that I know what I'm doing or everything that I say is the word. But, I think that it's just more, it boils down to just common sense. Always do good for the community. I think that's the best way to go about running any type of event, is making sure that the community enjoys it and they have a good time.
Absolutely.
Because I do it for them. It's not technically for me. I'm sacrificing myself to try to put something together, and I feel like the reward comes at the end of it. But I'm not even concerned about really trying to make a fortune out of this or not. So that's just me.
Awesome. That was beautiful. That was very well said. And it's all about the relationship. In esports, relationships are key. Can you have a relationship with the fans, relationship with the community? And that's one thing that I really like about esports, just the connection and the sense of community within the industry. That was amazing.
Yeah, and it's only getting better. My ideal of how things are going now is just we're still at that premature stage. I don't think that things are set and done right now. A lot of people, a lot of organizations, companies, they're trying to figure out, the perfect formula of putting something together to where it works. Because, you're starting to see all these different leagues, they're in their first year and whatnot. And they're doing good. Now, don't get me wrong. They have a lot of resources and, the funding to do it. And that's great, that people supporting it. I just hope that goes across the board, for everything else. And I just definitely wants to see the growth. I think that, within 2 to 3 years that we'll start to see a huge increase in value when it comes to the esports brand.
Yes. So. Growth is key. Growth is key. Absolutely. So what are your favorite games that you like to host at the tournaments in general? And also what are your personal favorites as well?
So So my favorite genre really is, to be quite honest, is actually strategy games.
Oh, I
And
see.
yeah, I'm a big strategy head. So Civ is like my thing. I love Civ and StarCraft, stuff like that. But I like Civ more because it's more in detail. The game is longer than it should be, but I think that being able to kind of like outsmart your opponent later on in the game is like it's the most craziest thing ever. But StarCraft is kind of like too fast for me, but it's also like the same thing. Like you have to do the same build, but then you have to actually you have to kind of like adapt at the same time. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I like Civilization because it gives you the more options to deal with in game. But fighting games has always been my favorite though because arcades have been always been pretty much everyone knows that arcades because of arcades like the fighting game genre has been really huge in arcades, and it's like it just really paved the way, for a lot of things. And um, the arcade that I used to go to all the time, Big Apple Video, they used to not have that many fighting games. They used to just have one. So what it was is that they used to have like shooters and a couple beat 'em ups, like you remember like the 8-player X-Men game and stuff like that. So um, I was a big fan of like GamePro. So I used to see like all these new fighting games coming out, and I was that kid that would go to the owner and say, "Hey, this fighting game's coming out. Can you get it?" And of course, the owner would ask me, "Is this gonna make me money?" So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know that. I mean, I'm a kid, but seeing some of these games, they look really awesome. Like the detail, the graphics is, like I said, is beyond its sight. Um, the owner, took trust in me and started, actually ordering these arcade machines. So now the arcade is known as a fighting game arcade. So it's like all the machines are nothing but fighting games, and it was like four of them. So it's like you had like X Ventura the Atom, you had like the what there was Soul Blade at the time. I think that was the first name of it. Then you had like Mortal Kombat 2, and then you had like um, what was the other fighting games at the time, like Tekken 2. So yeah, like that arcade started to become real popular in the neighborhood because of that. So the owner really thanked me a lot. Sometimes he used to give me like $10 in quarters to play because how much money he was making at the arcade. And the funny thing is, I ended up working there, so I ended up like being in charge of the arcade at one point. So yeah, fighting games is mainly my genre, and the reason being is I think it's the most easiest genre to do, and it's the most uh, I mean the community is better, I believe, because I mean I look at it this way, right? When it comes to like shooters like Overwatch or like League of Legends and Dota, like those are very exclusive kind of type of teams, like so you have to be a part of a team to actually enter those like really big money tournaments, and usually some of them not really as open. I mean, sometimes it probably be like an online, open tournament, and that's about it. But when it comes to fighting games, like there's probably like 2 to 3 tournaments in every month. That's like considered like a 1 day major or 2 to 3 day major or locals, and it's just like the content is just so much because it's like everyone has a storyline. Like you have people who are really good and they stay on top, and then you'll have like a random guest come in and like just beat everyone, and you're like, yo, who's this guy? Then you have that guy who's been always losing, and then he ended up getting really, really good, and he's like the best player now. Like, so that's the thing with fighting games. I think everyone has a story to tell, and I think it's completely better than actual teams. Like sometimes teams don't even have a story. Like the only story they have is like they lost to a team, or like they're the underdog, and that's about it. That's as far as you go. They don't really get into in depth with it, but like with fighting game community, it's just so many people that come to these tournaments. Like you get 2 to 3,000 people come to a tournament. Everyone has a story.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I go to a lot of Super Smash Brothers tournaments, and I really like the sense of community there too. And they're also part of this fighting game community, and it's just interesting how like people get along so well, and it's like a sense of family at these tournaments. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really amazing. Like, I just love fighting games just because it brings a lot of people together because everyone can enter. So that's the reason why I've been explaining myself about like not getting to a point where tournaments are too exclusive that people can't enter. Like some people are just only able to watch. And the great thing about fighting game tournaments is that each player could be a competitor and a spectator at the same time. Some people actually stay to watch the finals. I mean, when it comes to other teams, they probably not say, "Hey, I don't even want to watch this. I'm kind of upset that I'm not in the tournament anymore." So I think like the attitude is completely different, and I think fighting game players are more emotional because they really grind. Like there's a lot of people who are sitting at home and they grind. They want to get better. Like they want to beat their demon. Like they want to set goals for themselves. So it's like that's why I said like everyone in the fighting game community has a story, and like every time we have new people that step on the stream, like there's a story to tell, and that's what I love about fighting games.
Oh yeah, and you see all these storylines too in these tournaments. Like so many storylines, like infiltration in Street Fighter. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and the Capcom circuit. You see all these these amazing storylines, and then you see. Do you remember the Lupe Fiasco exhibition match against Daigo Umehara?
Yes.
That was awesome. That was and that's the thing. Like with fighting games, like you said, anybody can just pick up and play and enter the tournament, and you see a lot of crossover between like famous celebrities in like the Hollywood industry coming in to into these tournaments, like Lupe Fiasco, for example, and you see a sense of belonging. Like no matter what background you're from, no matter what like where you grew up, no matter what background you're from, you just feel at home at these tournaments, and it's amazing. It's very amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's been really great because now we also too having very popular wrestlers that come in and show us love, like Xavier Woods and Kenny Omega, and these guys are like really doing really well in their organizations, and for them to take the time out of their schedule to come and like spend time with us, it's the most beautiful thing you can ever see. Just at a gaming convention, like because a lot of people think like I know, like people don't want to come hang out with us, like celebrities and stuff like that, but they do come. Like, I think Jamie Lee Curtis came one time to Evo with I think her son, if I'm not mistaken. And that was dope. So it's like, I believe that there's something there. It's just that we gotta know how to kind of like, make it mainstream so that it'll be more worthwhile for everyone to be entertained and wanting to see more of it.
Awesome, awesome. What is your favorite single fighting game? Like if you can pick any fighting game, but it could only be one, which one will be your favorite?
Oh man, that is so tough, man. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Like being honest, like I think for me, Alpha 2 has been like pretty much my game. Like that, what made me who I am today. Like as a player, because back then we used to play that a lot. Like that game, that was the game that we played a lot in the arcade. So like I think I put more time into that game than anything else.
Who was your favorite character? Who did you use?
Oh, Birdie.
Birdie, yes. Birdie is a cool character. I love Birdie.
Yeah, well, I don't like him in Street Fighter 5 though.
Yeah, what don't you like about him in Street Fighter 5?
I don't know. It's just too stiff. Like I don't like the mechanics of like how some of the move set is like is very stiff. because they decided to make him fat in this one. So it's like, and I think they did that for a reason, because I think they realized, like, man, Birdie was so fast in like Alpha 2 and 3, like he had a lot of, like, he had crazy movement. So like to have him like to be like a heavy hitter with movement in this game would have probably been too much. So I still don't know the story. It is what it is. I mean, I was excited when they announced him, because it's like, this is one of my favorite childhood character, and then Geese Howard is my second.
Geese Howard.
And yeah, Geese Howard, yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. Beautiful. Someday, like, even though I'm probably not nearly as good in Street Fighter as you, but I just want to play with you. I just want to play Street Fighter. Like, talking to you, I just really want to play Street Fighter with you right now.
Oh no, yeah, man. I'm always down. Like, it's crazy because I don't even play as much as I should. You know what I mean? Because I love playing fighting games. But, I really dedicated myself to kind of like help out with events and run events and stuff like that, and I hopefully by the time 2019 hit, it's going to be a really great year, because I'm actually expecting a couple events to happen. So it's in the works. So hopefully I get approval for that, and I could definitely talk more about it, down the future.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun. So, you said you weren't. You said you weren't sponsored, correct? You said Play All Gaming wasn't sponsored.
No, we're not. We're not sponsored. We try to get sponsorship, and the thing is that when I first started out, we weren't really a notable team, meaning that like we didn't have players that is well known as of like winning tournaments and stuff like that. And the thing is that the thing is, most companies will only sponsor a team if they were very successful at winning tournaments, and it was very, I guess that was like a necessity for them. I mean, they don't want to associate themselves with like people who are not doing well. But the thing is that the market is completely changing. I am led to believe now we have gotten to a point where personalities actually make more money than people who are actually winning.
Really?
And yeah, I am led to believe that personalities actually make more money than people who actually win. And the reason behind that theory is the tournament structure. I've started to realize like the payout has been really, really bad. They do what they can, and it has nothing to do with the people who are running the tournament. I just think that like we have to get to a point where we have to get more. A lot of people talk about sponsorship, but I'm at a point right now where we need to stop pushing the word endorsements. Like, people use the word sponsorship like way too much. I think we need to get on the level of endorsements, because if we're gonna consider, we're gonna say that gaming is now eSports. You need to think like sports, and sports is the ones who are actually getting more. They're getting endorsements rather than sponsorships. So we need to get onto that level where we could be able to make these deals with these companies to be able to put out more money into the tournaments.
Absolutely.
So let me do a quick math, type of thing.
Got
it. I look at it where, let's say if a tournament had over 5,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they enter the tournament, and the payout only goes to top 8.
Wait.
Now think about it.
Whoa, wait. 5,000 people and only top 8 get a payout?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. And do they is it possible to get a pop bonus for that?
No, I mean, it's always possible to get a pop bonus, but the thing is that either way, the pop bonus is going to be split between the top 8.
Wow. That's sad. That's sad. That is so sad, though.
Because the thing is that if you look at it this way, right, where it's like, so you're in a tournament with 5,000 people, right? Mm-hmm. And you only get a top 8 cut, right, to get paid. It's a complete headache, because if you really think about it, you have to play like what, 12 to 13 matches or even more just to make top 8.
Wow.
And to me that's insane. you have to. I mean, obviously you have to be good in order to make top eight, but still, it's like it's a very gruesome process because it's like it can really destroy your mental. You
Mm-hmm.
can really get exhausted. If you don't, because these guys are veterans, so they know what they're doing. That's the reason why they stay on top. But the thing is that like anyone, and also the scary part is, you'll have new people that have like different ways of how they play. You have to adapt right on the fly, and sometimes you might end up losing to somebody who is not a seasoned player. You know,
Wow.
and that's the scary part about the tournament scene now when it comes to fighting games because anyone can lose.
I feel bad for the
And
ninth person. The person that's ninth place. I feel bad for that person.
yeah, and that's a sad reality too, because that person would be more hurt than anything else because they missed it by a hair,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why now, like, I mean, as I really think about it, the people who do commentary who's getting, these guys are getting flown, hotel, they're getting paid to do commentary, and they have the right to sit there and literally make fun of people, but they're making more money than the people who are actually winning. I mean, who didn't even make top eight.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, like they didn't really have to come out of pocket for anything. So it's
That's
like
wow.
it's hard to be a competitor in this market because you have to really understand that if you really want to win, you have to really do your homework. You got to understand the game for what it is, and do what you can to win. You
Yeah.
know.
It's very competitive. You gotta outsmart the other people. Yeah, very interesting.
So that's the reason why I came to the conclusion that personalities actually make more money than people who are actually competing.
Hmm.
Because it's rough. It's completely rough. Like you may not make as much. The payout can be like probably like if it's 5,000 people, we're talking about what the standards like what $10 per person. So like that's a lot of money, but still at the end of the day, it's like only top eight is getting paid. You know.
Interesting. That was
Yeah.
that was very eye opening. That was very eye opening. I learned something new today. Thank you very very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No
Hmm.
problem. I just think that like my thing is I want people to realize what's going on, and to have an understanding about the business and the market. I don't want people to feel discouraged or anything like that. I just want them to know like the pros and cons of like um, getting involved with esports. Um, I just want people to be more business savvy, so this way they could be able to get a piece of the pie. Like the pie is big enough for everyone to eat. Let me just put it that way, right? Like everyone can eat. So there's no reason to do anything crazy or try to stand out and do all outlandish things, whatever. I just think that just be yourself. Have a good social following. I think that's very important to make sure that you have all your social media, like your Facebook, your Instagram, and your Twitter on lock. So this way, people could know who you are as a person. The problem is too is that some of the players are very, they have like social anxiety. They're introverts. They don't really talk as much. So sometimes they kind of prevent themselves for being more of a personality than anything else. So it's
Yeah.
very difficult. It's a very difficult type of thing. So um, with my group, I've been raising players that have absolute potential. Like I'm not going to take credit for their gameplay. There's a lot of players that I've met that I've seen that are amazing. They're outstanding, and like I just want to give them the knowledge as an old school player who understands the mental concept to give them that, to feed them that, so this way they can be able to use that when they go to tournaments and be successful at what they do. Because I think that most players they defeat themselves before the person actually is beating them because they're not confident enough. They don't give them the edge that they need in order to kind of get through the match. And so these are the things that I try to teach them so they have an understanding with that. So with my guys, like I don't put any of them on contracts, because most esports teams have players on contracts, and I let them be whoever they want to be as long as they're not talking anything crazy like raping, killing, or any other nonsense that does any harm to any human being.
Got
So
it.
that's my only rules for them to understand. Like, don't do anything like that. But they are themselves. They're very great players. Some of them are notable to what they do for the community, and some are on the come up because they're making a lot of noise. So I'm very grateful to have the team that I have. I mean, I feel honored to have people who want to be a part of my organization, and it gives me great privilege to be able to do what I do because of that.
Yeah, that's very noble too, and you're giving back to the community, and you're building a relationship with it, and that's very noble. That's a very noble thing.
And yeah, man, and I mean that's all I'm trying to do. Like I want everybody to have understanding, and have a great love for the gaming industry. I feel that everyone has a story to tell, and everyone has a place where they can be themselves, and everyone has something where they can be able to plant their own seed and watch it grow. So
Awesome.
that's the whole point of like the community aspect of bringing people together.
Awesome. So, have you worked together with other communities or other companies within the esports scene? Have you worked together with anybody?
Yeah, so I worked with a lot of other teams and companies. I don't consider myself like a person who wants to uh, think about people being my competitor. I try not to do that as much, because we're all in this together, and we all should collaborate as much as we can to help show people that we can be one with as a group. Um, Considering that the fact, of course, like I said, we're competing against each other. Because I'm not in the market to go around and say, well, my team is better than yours and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be in that realm. I just want to be able to run something that I'm proud of. The respect level is very important for me. So, like, I want people to truly understand that, like, what I'm trying to do is all about like helping out, bringing the growth, and willing to work with people to help them with their ventures, and so that we can be able to say, hey, when we need any help, we can rely on each other and call on each other whenever we need help.
Awesome. That was remarkable. That was amazing. And so, what was the most recent event that Play All Gaming had run? What was the most recent event that you ran?
So the most recent event that we ran technically was the Overwatch League. It was the Overwatch League Finals after party. So we did an after
Ooh.
party in Brooklyn, at this venue called Colony 274. So the thing is with me, when I grew up in New York City, we used to have a lot of events, like private events and stuff like that, where like like a new game was coming out, like they had like setups, and we used to sit down and play like the game before it even came out. So like they used to do a lot of test runs, and for some magical reason, like they stopped doing it. I think like the biggest promotion that hit the city was the Xbox 24/7.
Oh
I think
wow.
Xbox, like yeah, like the first Xbox, they did like I think it was like for a month. I think I don't remember, but it was like probably the best promotion I ever ran into because they were giving Xbox away. I got on my hands on DOA 4 because I was a big DOA fan. So that was really dope. Like I really enjoyed stuff like that. But now a lot of companies have stopped coming to the city to do like private events, or even if they still do, like you don't really hear too much about it. Like they it's like really bad promotion. So I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe if the budget doesn't allow it to do better marketing or whatever. So I started my company because I want to be a consultant, want to be a marketing. Technically, I want to be really all inclusive, so that any company that needs help with like pushing their brand, or they need help with like running events, stuff like that, they will hire my team to provide that. So if they looking for a scout, if you're looking for a place, you don't know New York City like that, you're looking for a space, they could contact me and say, hey, I'm looking for venues for such and such for this amount of people. I know a couple of bars and lounges that I do business with, so I can help them find a place and little next to nothing, and be able to run an event. And so that's the type of services I'm trying to provide. And the great thing about it now is like my business have been people have been hearing about my business outside of New York City. So I've been traveling to like Atlanta, North Carolina, um, Las Vegas, Florida, Texas. It's been very great. That people will want to hire me for running events and helping the system, and it's been awesome. Like I said, I've been extremely grateful for that. So that's mainly what PhD is really all about. Like I said, we're trying to help the growth of gaming anywhere in the world. If you allow us to come, help you out, we'll help you with anything that you need.
Awesome. So if I were to run a Super Smash Brothers tournament and I needed help, I can call you, for example, right? I can call you to set up an event, right?
Of course, of course. I'll be more than glad to help you out with that.
Awesome. Beautiful. And it's not just exclusive to New York City. It can be anywhere, right?
Yeah, technically anywhere in the world. Like I literally quit my job to do this full time. Like I took a massive risk. Like most people think, hey man, you literally hanging yourself because you left a union job, and I completely understand. Like I mean nowadays, like it's rough not to have a job, but I decided to take all the resources that I had that I saved up, and I told myself, give or take 3 years, if things don't go well, I'm gonna go back and work a 9 to 5 job, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm not gonna be embarrassed or anything like that, and I'm not gonna think I wasted my time. I think at this point now, I have set myself to a standard where now I've had people contacting me to do evaluations for their venues so they could do events, and people hire me for consulting or to be as a temp. I do also independent contracting, so I try to make things easier for everyone, so this way they know that they have somebody who's passionate and has a vision to help help bring their event to life as much as possible as they can. So that's the main thing with me. And I'm not gonna lie, I was struggling for a year, because it was really rough, because I started out, and obviously, the experience is very important. So, if you don't have the experience, people won't consider you. And, I started getting gigs here and there, and, now, like, I've built up a good resume. I can't say that I'm, like, really making it, but I've been really stable, which is very important for me, that now I'm stable, that I could be able to continue doing what I'm doing. I have reached a point to where now I'm going to continue to keep going forward, and continue to do gaming. So now now I could be able to now expand, talk with more people. I got a couple projects on the way, so hopefully that goes well. And then that will literally solidify, me as a person, and being an esports head figure in this industry.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you so much. And I recommend anyone to follow their passion, but also be smart about making the right choice, and make sure that you have a plan, and stick to the plan. Don't get distracted. Don't let anything else hold you down. Don't let people tell you can't do something. Test yourself. That is the best way of getting to know you as a person, by testing yourself, putting yourself in not bad situations, but putting you in situations where that if you can be able to get out of it and make it happen, then you're capable of moving forward onto the next task at hand.
Beautiful. Well said. And I have one final question for you.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself and Play All Gaming LLC 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I see us as being a like a premier gaming company that now has sponsors or endorsements. Hopefully, we'll be able to get into that realm. I definitely want to expand and being able to own my own business, and meaning like to own my own event space. So this way, I could do more gaming events that would be geared towards like after parties and event release parties and stuff like that. So that's where I see Playout Gaming. Like we're progressing, definitely stepping out of the realm of the fighting games, like getting into Dota, League of Legends, whatever new games that come out. Like I'm pretty sure there are going to be some killer new games that's going to be coming within the 5 years. So we have a lot of time to plan and make sure that we get to where we need to be. I don't really see myself going anywhere because I've been doing as much as I can to do absolute good business. I have really great recommendations, and I appreciate everyone who gives me the opportunity, if they don't know me, to work with them and help expand my company to the reach to where I can be able to work with as many people as I can. And I am very grateful for that. So I really do see my company really flourishing in the near future. Hopefully, get our own office space. Like that for me is a dream for me, and I believe that it will become a reality sooner or later.
Awesome. Awesome. And thank you so much for spending your time to be interviewed. Thank you so much for interviewing with us. Everybody, you've heard Jihan Sheriff-Crichlow, founder and CEO of Play All Gaming LLC in New York City. You guys will see his social media so that you can follow him on whatever social media platform. It's going to be on the banner of this interview video. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Bowie Abiola of Raise Your Game eSports signing out.